I'm not alone in this feeling of deep depletion. I am a professional coach and I'm struggling. And then I started saying it to friends and they immediately were like, oh my gosh, me too. And because I went to look for resources for this working mom experience, this deep sense of depletion, how to regain my sense of identity and how to bring power back into my life and live with a more joyful approach. And there was nothing out there. Really limited resources available for this life that so many women are living. I started writing this book in 2021, and it started as kind of a cathartic memoir, so to speak, and has turned into a thought movement. Because over the last 4 years, what I've realized is I'm not alone. Despite the fact that I felt alone every day. Working motherhood is exceptionally isolating. The self-made mom helps you reestablish your life when you want nothing in your life to change, but everything about the way you live your life needs to change. You forget that you are a member of the family that you serve, and everything becomes about placing your family, placing your work, placing your friends, I call it the beloved's table, into a seat at the beloved's table. You forgot to put a chair even at the table for yourself. And so the self-made mom is about pulling up your own chair at the beloved's table.
Hey, today we have Julia Sewell. We're honored to welcome her. She's the founder of The Self-Made Mom. Julia is a passionate advocate for working mothers, dedicated to helping them rediscover power, intention, and joy in both their personal and professional lives. Through her newly launched community and upcoming book, she's building a movement that empowers women to thrive on their own terms. Does that sound about right?
That's correct.
Is that good?
All of the above.
Cool.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
So I am, I'm going to be 40 this year, Matthew.
Nice. I'm 40. I just turned 40.
Yes. And in my
It's great.
Path to 40 in the last couple of years, I've had some strong realizations about embracing who I really am, which is a dual identity of wife and mama. And that is my life's passion in every way. And thought movement leader, career woman. I have found so much of my identity in my career until I became a mother. And now I'm finally understanding, now that I'm finally sleeping again, the kiddos are a little older, how I can combine both of those identities. They don't have to live separately. They can live as one.
Yeah.
And so that's really who I am. So I'm married to Forrest, who's a premier career holder too, wonderful, high fortitude man. And we have a 6-year-old daughter and 5-year-old twins.
Nice. That's awesome. And you live outside of Denver in the mountains a little bit.
We live a little bit up into the Rocky Mountains. So the sun shone for not the first time, but pretty close yesterday.
Yeah.
It's middle May.
So, I know you guys get a lot of snow.
We get a lot of snow up there.
It's cold. Well, cool. Tell me about your journey from, did you go to college?
I did. I went to
What did you study?
Oklahoma State.
Okay.
And I
That's
studied.
where you and Forrest met?
Well, we met in Tulsa about 5 or 6 years after college.
Okay.
But I'm an Oklahoman, true and through. I was raised by an entrepreneur in a tiny town in southeastern Oklahoma, and I had a really awesome, rural Americana upbringing. It was.
We talk about that. I went to school in Northeast Texas, and so
I think we've talked about that before.
Okay.
I loved it. I loved the small town life and everything about it, and
Same.
football on Friday night and the whole deal, And so I did that, and then I went to Oklahoma State, where I was a proud cowgirl, and then right after college, I actually started and ran a women's magazine.
Okay, cool. What did you study in school?
Interior merchandising.
Love it.
I thought I would be a buyer.
Okay, yeah.
A professional shopper.
Yeah.
The irony of that is that I really hate shopping now.
Okay.
I'm not that girl
Why?
anymore. Which is I don't
You just don't
it's
enjoy
not a
it?
valuable use of my time
Okay.
anymore.
That's spoken like a true mother and businesswoman.
Yeah, I just don't have time for that. So anyway, so I thought I'd be a professional buyer. Sure enough, I ended up being a magazine editor as my first foray out of college, mostly born out of desperation. I was doing a sales job that had a really long commute both ways, like an hour one way, which was brutal.
You had
And
to
I
be
was
there
in
in
my
person back
20s
then.
and definitely in person and so much road time. And so I, without a plan on the back end, I quit.
Okay.
And then I called my dad and he was horrified,
Yeah.
you know, like, oh my God, you quit without a backup plan. And so, you know, we collected our thoughts and he said, okay, well, what do you want to do? You know, what have you always dreamed of doing? And at that time, in my like just beautiful naivete, I said, I want to be a magazine editor.
Yeah.
I had written for the college newspaper a little bit, and I liked writing and always found words to be a great way to express myself. And so I said, I want to be a magazine editor. And he said, okay, well, go
For a
do
women's
that.
magazine specifically?
I have always felt a deep connection to women. And no, I guess I just kind of fell into that. So here's what went down. So he's like, okay, you want to be a magazine editor?
Yeah.
What jobs are out there? There were none. He said, okay, well, here's what you have to do. This is a lifelong entrepreneur speaking. He said, you need to come up with an idea and you need to go pitch it to some people.
Did you trust his voice and opinion at that time?
Definitely.
Okay.
He is a
man
of the most rock solid advice you could ever imagine. I was raised by a really, really strong, awesome father. And so he said, make a pitch, come up with an idea and go sell it to someone who might print it for you.
Yeah.
And I only knew about newspapers at the time because, you know, that was a long time ago.
Sure, yeah.
And so I did it. I came up with a one-pager, pitched this idea of a women's lifestyle magazine that covered local events and cool happenings and restaurants and, you know, things like that and like lifestyle pieces. And they picked it up.
Wow. Who did? And
the
was this
local
a regional
newspaper.
Okay.
The
And
local,
what region
like
was
the
this
town, Stillwater, Oklahoma.
Okay.
They said, you know what? We do want something like this.
Oh, wow.
I know. Can
How
you
about you?
imagine? I just had no idea I could fail. And so I did it. So I launched this women's magazine and we went from a quarterly publication to a monthly publication in about 6 months.
Dang.
And we were profitable.
How were you distributing that?
It was a free publication that was paid for by advertising.
Okay.
So I was everything.
Were you tasked with getting
yeah.
oh my gosh.
I sold the ads.
How were you getting
I wrote
ads?
the stories. I went door to door.
Door to door.
Mm-hmm.
That is,
walked into businesses.
you will learn so much about yourself going door to door, right?
Yeah, you know, it was hard and easy at the same time because people loved the idea of it.
Okay.
And it was an engaging concept, and I had a really good.
Were you looking for like women-owned businesses to advertise in there? Or did you...
Oh gosh, I wish I was that forward thinking. No, I just wanted, I just wanted local businesses who could represent well. So you know, the local flower shop and pharmacy and it was
wine bar, restaurants.
Yes, totally, exactly. And I had great relationships that developed subsequently from those advertising sales.
Yeah.
And
you
so
probably knew everyone in the town, I imagine.
Everybody.
Yeah.
And I wrote the stories and I took the photos, Matthew. I mean, everything.
That's crazy.
It was crazy.
So you were publishing the whole magazine by yourself
Yes.
every month. Were you outsourcing any of it?
Yes, I was outsourcing graphic design.
Okay.
And eventually began to outsource some of the advertising sales.
Okay.
As the publication grew, my responsibilities just got a little overwhelming. But and
that's like running your own business.
Oh, I was grinding. Yeah. And I was 21, 22 years old.
Yeah. Did you even need the newspaper at that point?
What
were they providing?
They provided the graphic designer and the infrastructure for the printing.
Okay.
And which was a world that I had no, you know, insight into. So yes, I needed them, and I also didn't need them. And actually, I did have a little conflict with the editor of the newspaper at the time, who was one of those women who had really made it in a man's world, and she was hard.
Yeah,
and
maybe even harder on women.
So hard on young girls as a result. And I think differently than that. I think women should support each other, and I don't think you need to lose your softness or lose your femininity to be a successful business person. Mm-hmm. And as I've matured and aged, I believe that even more deeply. I think you can be who you are. Whatever you are, you don't have to harden or soften or any of those things. You can be who you are and still be wildly successful as an entrepreneur, as long as you find your right audience. Mm-hmm. And so she and I were in conflict, and I immediately had to, as a very young woman, get confident and establish my own brand, which is confident, forthright, and still soft and still,
feminine,
true to myself. Yeah. Feminine. Which at the time, that was 20 years ago. That wasn't available.
Yeah.
It's more available now, but it
So
really
you
wasn't.
looked around and you didn't see anyone leading like you wanted to lead. So you just
No, if you were a female leader, you were a tough cookie,
yeah.
and you had to be. And that was just a survival mechanism. That's, those women, I don't believe really are at fault. They had to do that in order to make it. But I really had a deep conflict with that. And I wrote about it in the magazine, which now and I'm like, wow, that's so inflammatory.
You ever go back and read any of that?
Oh, yes. Yes. I mean, it was very bold.
What year was this? Were you talking about?
2007.
Wow. So you've been working towards this for 20 years almost. This has been like something that crept up inside of you and you recognize inside yourself 20 years ago or earlier.
I think that is such an interesting part of hindsight into your journey. Is sometimes you don't know you're laying your groundwork when you're laying it. I didn't know I was going to write a book eventually, but there I was writing first shot out of the box out of college. That's what I felt like I had to do.
Well, it's something that grabbed you, and you became passionate about. And so you just start to learn about it and write about it and experience it and notice it everywhere you go and talking about it. And you just gain all this wisdom. And then you, at some point you're just like, I'm such an expert in this.
Something to say.
I didn't mean to be.
Right.
I just kind of accidentally became an expert in this.
100%.
And so I guess I should share this wisdom and this like collective knowledge with other people.
Yeah. Through a venue that feels natural.
Yeah.
Words have felt natural to me.
Cool.
So I wrote in the magazine. Then I took a 15-year break and did verbal expression, right? So coaching and relationship
tell me about
development. So
is that where Harold was born?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I had a short stint as a financial advisor, which is really where I honed my person-to-person relationship building skills.
You will, yeah. You were tasked with going and getting your own.
Oh, man. You have to understand a person's deepest, darkest desires and their pain points if you're going to be good at that job.
Yeah.
And so I did that for 4 years. And then I went into leadership at that company, which is a Fortune 100 company. And so it was a really, really strong leadership development track. I learned a lot. Cool. I got a lot of certifications and really found that.
Was all that valuable or most of it valuable?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. What I found through that experience was I love the working woman. I want to support her. She's my special passion project. Like that's my life's work. Cool. And then when I became a mother, that's when I realized, it's the working mother.
Yeah.
That's my passion project.
Okay.
And all of that developed in that decade of my life where I was learning how to pull talent from people, pull authenticity in a way that then they could go be successful using and help them find their special recipe. Everyone has a special recipe for success and it's different. It is wildly unique for each person. Not everyone can get up at 4:30 a.m. and run 10 miles and, like that doesn't work.
Are you talking about my wife?
Well, maybe I hope she does. And she will be.
She's running a marathon on Sunday.
Oh my God. How amazing.
I mean, through the winter, up at 4 a.m., running 15, 20 miles in the snow.
Oh my gosh. Well, good on her.
Yeah, I know.
And that methodology.
But not everyone can do that.
And that's some. Yeah. Right. And it doesn't
she needs
work
that
for
like discipline and structure for her, mental stability.
Certainly.
So,
but there are other ways of doing it where you can be wildly successful too.
Yeah.
And, until recently, there wasn't a lot of literature in the world about how to be wildly successful without that kind of commitment, without the 4 a.m. wake up call.
Right.
Which doesn't work if you're a working mother.
Right.
For the most part.
Right.
Yeah, your wife is unique in her capability, right? Yeah. And the rest of us are dragging out of bed. And, we have to find what our recipe is inside our environment, inside our circumstances, and it's there.
Yeah.
If you're willing to do the work.
So then what spurred you to make this shift into this new adventure? Tell us about the new adventure.
Yeah.
And what was the moment, the thing that spurred you into it?
My own complete and total catastrophic depletion.
Okay. You hit rock bottom?
Oh, totally. So about 4 years ago, I had 3 children in 18 months.
Yeah. Okay.
And my husband had a career and I had a business to run and employees to pay and all of those things. Yeah. And no one slept when they were a baby at our house.
Right. Oh,
and that's just not the kind of babies we make. And and we got to the point where something had to give because I felt sad every day all day long. And that's not who I am.
Good.
And there was no evidence to, like, there wasn't a circumstance in my life that was despair inducing. I
Okay.
had a happy, wonderful life,
Sure.
great environment, wonderful spouse, all those things. Yet on the daily basis, I still felt this deep sense of despair.
Okay.
And I could not reconcile that
This is
feeling.
after having the
Yeah.
children and
When
raising
the
them.
twins were about a year old.
Okay.
So we were in the heat, right?
And
Like,
how are you even operating the business at this point?
well, not well.
Okay.
I mean, I was doing it. I was grinding so hard.
Okay.
So this consulting contract that I have with a corporation now, I was doing 35 90-minute consulting calls a month. I was
Okay.
carrying 30 individual coaching clients, which are 61-hour calls a month, plus managing the business, plus
Yeah.
being a mother,
Yeah.
breastfeeding,
What
like
did your- what was your
pumping
s-
milk on Zoom calls.
What was your
You know?
staff? Oh my God. That's crazy.
It was crazy. It was crazy.
I mean,
and my husband,
it's on brand. You know what I mean?
super on brand.
But
Mhm.
still hard.
It's so hard.
Very taxing, I imagine.
So I started to address this feeling
Did
of
you have
despair.
like good help staff and stuff?
I had I had one employee in my business and a bunch
Okay.
of contractors and
Yeah.
then a nanny
Okay.
who, nannies quit. We had a nanny quit on
There.
Sunday,
Oh.
and then of
Oh.
course Monday's a work day. And,
Yeah.
we did end up finding a wonderful nanny who's still part of our family and
Okay.
we love her. She doesn't work for us anymore. She's definitely our aunt essentially
Sure.
at
Okay.
this point. Anyway, so I had these feelings of despair and I couldn't reconcile them because by all, intents and purposes, I had everything I had ever
Yep.
dreamed of
You
and I
made
was
it.
happy. I wanted it.
You made it. From the outside looking in,
Oh.
women would look at you and be
Be
like,
like,
incredible.
"Wow,
Like, I
girl."
want that.
Yes.
And you're like, no, you don't.
Well, that's the thing is, but you do is the thing. Like, of course you would want that. Everything was right. And it wasn't despair. That's what I finally realized is that feeling that masquerades in your life as sadness and disconnection is actually depletion.
Okay.
It's depletion at a level that you won't have experienced before
Depletion of what?
of physical energy, mental health, resources. Your environment is, everything in your house is messy and everything in your life is messy. There's never a moment to yourself. You don't even pee about yourself.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the bathroom door is unlocked when you're a working mom.
Yeah.
And you go to work and people need things from you and you come home and people need things from you and there's no,
You're constantly pouring.
yeah. And
the cup's never getting full.
it's the word relentless applies here, and that has such a negative connotation, but it is so relentless. It's also relentless in joy and all of those things, but you don't see it
Yeah.
because you're so tired.
You can't clock out from being a parent either. you know?
No, and you don't want to.
Right.
That's the
Well,
thing. It's like,
sometimes.
well, you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to walk away from your babies. You're
No,
going to
no,
do
no.
this.
Yeah.
Like that,
you
you're
don't have a
in it.
choice, right?
Yeah,
You signed
you're
up
in
for
it.
this. Yeah.
So, and what I couldn't really figure out was who I was anymore. So there's this
Sort of lost your identity.
yes, identity crisis that happens, and that contributes to the depletion. So you ask how I just decided to start the Self-Made Mom. I finally said out loud, "This doesn't work. I am a professional coach, and I'm struggling."
Did you say it out loud to the void or to somebody? To somebody else?
into the ether first.
Okay.
And then I started saying it to friends and they immediately were like, "Oh my gosh, me too. I feel the same way. There's nothing out there for us." I said it to my husband. He's like, "Yeah, 100% see that." We had lots of incidents in our home where we were fighting for the life of our marriage, fighting for the lives of our own identities as individuals. And so I had told, this is a funny story. I remember being 29 years old, and this is long before having the kids and all that. We didn't have our kids till I was 35 or whatever. Being 29 and telling my father-in-law, "Steve, I think I'll write a book one day. I just like to write. Like,
Sure.
I'll just write a
Yeah.
book." He was like, "What are you going to write about?" "I don't know." Well, there it was. There was the book I needed to write. And because I went to look for resources for this working mom experience, this deep sense of depletion, how to regain my sense of identity and how to bring power back into my life and live with a more joyful approach. And there was nothing out there. Really limited resources available for this life that so many women are living. Like everybody is a working mom.
Yeah.
Right? Being a stay-at-home mom is pretty much the exception to the rule at this point.
Yeah.
Right? And so everyone's doing it and there's no resources and it's super hard.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's just hard. right? Like and we need to
It's
make
not
that
bad, it's just
differentiation.
hard.
It's not bad. It's just hard. And hard needs solutions. And
Yeah.
there wasn't a solution. So funny story, when I was 29, I told my father-in-law that. Then all of a sudden I'm 39, 10 whole years later.
Well, it took
and
you a
having done
decade
it.
to
Well, it
gain
took
the
me a
wisdom
decade, yeah.
and the
Well,
experience.
and it actually took me 4 years to write the book. I started writing this book in 2021 when my twins were 1 year old.
Okay.
And it started as kind of a cathartic memoir, so to speak, and has turned into a thought movement. Because over the last 4 years, what I've realized is I'm not alone. Despite the fact that I felt alone every day. Working motherhood is exceptionally isolating.
What do you mean you're not alone?
I am not alone in this feeling of deep depletion. I'm not alone in this. I have no idea how to handle this life that I've chosen that's really, really good. And I want every minute of it. That's the thing, is like the way that I say it to women, and this is probably the most quotable way to understand it, is the self-made mom helps you reestablish your life when you want nothing in your life to change, but everything about the way you live your life needs to change.
Let's unpack that a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are you encouraging working mothers to do about this? Because they can't quit their job. They can't quit their family.
Right.
So what is some of the solutions that you bring to the table, that you offer?
Good question. That really is it. It's and nobody wants to. We don't want to change our spouse. We don't want to quit our job. We don't want to leave our kids.
Right.
But something's got to give, right?
Right. Yeah.
So that something is yourself. What happens when you are a working mom, and sometimes it happens quick, and sometimes it happens excruciatingly slow, is that you forget that you are a member of the family that you serve. And everything becomes about placing your family, placing your work, placing your friends, I call it the beloved's table, into a seat at the beloved's table. They are beloved to you. You make them a seat. You put a place setting there. You serve them dinner, and you love them. And you forgot to put a chair even at the table for yourself.
Right. You're too busy running around getting things for everyone at the table.
Right. And so the self-made mom is about pulling up your own chair at the beloved's table, establishing a set of core values to use, self-made values that can help you reduce things like decision fatigue, which is a major problem for working moms. You can, through the book and through these learnings, you can use those self-made values to reestablish your self-worth, disconnected from the things that you do. So women forever and ever and ever have been judged by the things that they could do and the ways that they serve their family.
How good of a mom they are.
How good of a mom they are. How many things they can get checked off their to-do list. How many meals they make a month. Yeah, totally. How many times they sleep with their partner every month. Like, you know what I mean? We are judged hard for the things that we do. And that creates a dangerous ground when you live a life where the to-do list never gets done.
Right.
That's where that relentless conversation comes back in, right? When you're a working parent,
as you're checking things off, you're adding more to the list.
Totally.
The list
and
is
this
getting
applies to
longer
working
somehow.
fathers too. And I want to make one thing clear, like working fathers also have a historically heavy load. They're also depleted. I can't speak to it as much, so that's not what this is about.
Sure. I think the modern day father is much more involved than like our parents' generation. As a whole,
and
as
yet
a rule.
still tasked with going out into the world and having a career and all these things.
Sure.
So working parents are both experiencing this kind of new life. But since my expertise is women, I have been addressing those things. So establishing the self-made values, disconnecting self-worth from the things that you do, uncovering the lies that you tell yourself about yourself and about your life.
What are some lies that working mothers tell themselves?
I'm not a good mother because I work.
Okay.
I will never be considered an attentive mother because I have to go to this meeting.
Yeah, we get that a lot with like the school. I remember there was a moment last year when, that we were struggling just keeping up with everything, and the school calls and our daughter had bumped her head, and then the nurse at the school was like, "Could you just come by and give her a hug?" Call my wife, who's at CUN Shoots, leading a big meeting probably, you know what I mean, and doing important research. and 45 minutes away, and like the expectation
Yeah.
from the school to just swing by to give her a hug,
Right.
to comfort her.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was just like, that was like a moment for
It's
us.
hard.
It was just like, what?
That's when you say, put her on the phone.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give her a hug through this phone.
Yeah.
I have got her back and I am here to love her. And I also can't leave this meeting.
Yeah.
And that, and it is so scary to say that kind of thing out loud, because you do not want the world to see you or perceive you deprioritizing your children, because it's not that. Working moms love their kids just as much as stay-at-home moms do, right? Yeah. And yet the lies we tell ourselves are that the world will perceive that I don't, or my workplace will perceive that I'm not as committed, or my body is not sexy anymore, or my house, the untidiness of my house is a reflection of my character. There's a million lies that we tell ourselves. And so rewriting into self-made truth that is reflective of the woman that you believe yourself to be, you believe yourself capable of being. You put that truth out there and then you go get it. But you have to write it first. You know, it doesn't just happen. So
is part of this struggle that this is sort of a new experience for women in our, like, being out in the workforce and being, you know, becoming leaders in the workforce.
Working mothers are a new phenomenon.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like there's
women have been working for, you know, decades.
Not like this.
But not like this. Exactly.
Not 70
they have not
hours
found
a week
success.
traveling for work.
Women
you know, all that.
in the last 10, 15, 20 years have found so much more success in the workforce, I feel like.
Yes.
And so do you feel like the struggle with balancing that and the emotions that come along with that, is part of the struggle just because it's new?
Yes, it's new. There's not a handbook
we didn't see
for
our,
it. There
our
isn't
we didn't see our
hundreds and
moms do
hundreds of
this.
years of demonstration of how to do this.
Right.
And also, one of the disconnects is, and this is not man-hating, I love men, this is not what this is, but workplaces were built for men.
Sure.
They serve a more masculine behavior pattern and
give me
the
some
traditional
examples what you
household. So in-person meetings, required in-person meetings, things that start at 7 a.m., the expectation that you be in the office all the time, or the expectation that the amount of time that you spend in person in the office reflects the quality of your work.
Okay.
As opposed to just letting the quality of your work reflect the quality of your work, you know? Travel expectations. You know, there's a lot of things that working mothers have a hard time accommodating because they want to be able to put their children first. And allowing, like, I have a friend, her name is Megan, who went to 3/4 time as a partner at Ernst & Young when she had her second child, and still earned partner while she was at 3/4 time.
Wow.
That works.
Yeah.
That creates an environment for a working mother to thrive, where it wasn't about the hours she served and it was more about her contribution.
Yeah.
She was still able to elevate her career while also tending to her family. It was such a beautiful demonstration.
It takes more work. You know, and I think we have to learn new ways of measuring, of metrics, of, you know what I mean? Like,
yes, what
you
does
can't just
success
look at
actually look
hours
like?
worked. You got to look at outcome and performance and contributions. But those are hard. Those things are hard to. You have to qualify them. You can't quantify them necessarily.
100%. It's
and
a
that's
softer
it's hard to
measurement
measure.
stick.
Yeah.
Yes, and it really requires a level of courageousness on the working mother's part to pursue roles that allow that for her.
Okay.
Work in industries that allow that kind right now until things really change. Work in industries that allow that, pursue entrepreneurship. So she has autonomy, right? Which is scary and risky and, has all these things. Yeah. And or make changes or get more education so that she can do both and not do them both, at a minimum level.
So I have a question. Your book is geared towards working mothers, right? And helping them sort of navigate this and learn their self-identity. Do you have plans, or do you coach businesses on sort of the opposite side of that, how to better serve working moms?
I would love to.
Okay.
So much.
Is that sort of a thought for the future?
Absolutely.
Another book?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. So I
feel like that's something that you sort of need to tackle it from both ends. Yeah. Attack it from both ends of, like, let's help moms, but let's also help companies and, corporations and businesses learn to, tap into, because working moms, are such a great resource. They get stuff done. So
much talent.
They get stuff done, and they get it done quick, and they get it done good.
Yes.
I see my wife. You know what I mean?
Oh,
She's
yes.
incredible. But how do we tap into that and not burn them out and not make them feel like terrible employees or terrible moms along the way? Like, what are the little things that companies can do?
Well, I tell a story about that in my book, actually. I had a leader at the corporate company that I have the consulting contract with pick up the phone and call me one time. His name's Gary. And I didn't know him at all. And he said, "Hey, I'm Gary, and I just wanted to pick your brain for 10 minutes about, I have a female in my office who is a mother and she's new. And I just wanted to ask you some questions about how to support her."
Oh.
I was like, "Oh, Gary, oh, Gary, you have figured it out.
Yeah.
Like, I will happily give you any amount of time you want.
Yeah.
And we will have this conversation." It was such a humble admission that he didn't know how to coach this woman in the way that would help her create the most success. And she has subsequently blossomed and bloomed and is having a wonderful experience in his office because he took the time to care just a little more about how to make her
just recognizing that her
individually
situation
successful.
is different.
Yeah.
Not that she's valued any less.
No,
you know
absolutely not.
But her situation is different. How do we just make some tweaks? Are there any like tweaks that companies can make to better serve? I'm sure it's different for every business, but are there just some general rules?
Well, so there are kind of two categories. One is time.
Okay.
You know, the thing about being a working mom is that you're always being pulled from a time perspective in multiple different directions. And that is in no way indicative of how well you will perform.
Right.
And so expecting a working mom to be at like a 7:30 roundtable meeting in person is just a really unfair expectation. And really, if we're honest, not a great expectation for working parents, men or women, right? Because a lot of daddies.
I struggle to get here at 9 a.m.
Correct, right?
So.
A lot of daddies take kids to school. So allowing those kind of meetings to be in the meat of the day would be a great accommodation for a working parent.
So required in-person meetings.
That's
not at the beginning or the end of the day.
Right. It's just a no-brainer, right? Like, come on. And allowing a woman to have the flexibility to, for example, last Friday, I went on a field trip with my oldest daughter to the Denver Museum of Nature and Science. We were there for 4 or 5 hours. I still worked before and after.
Yeah.
I got my work done.
Right.
Because I have the autonomy to do that as a business owner. But as an employee, it would be so great. Yeah. If the recognition that like, hey, I know what work I need to get done this day. Yeah. And if I need to take a little pocket out of the middle of the day to go to a field trip, that is not going to affect my workload. Yeah. And the working mother, I'll tell you right now, she does not want to be expected less of in any way. That is not it.
Right.
She wants to be expected.
She doesn't want to be coddled.
No, she wants to perform at a high level and she wants to be her best at work and be allowed to be her best at work without someone saying, "Oh, well, since you have to be a mother, I expect less of you."
Yeah.
Absolutely not. In fact, expect as much as you would of anyone else and just let me do it my way.
Yeah.
You know, which again requires the working mom to do the work she needs to do.
Yeah.
She's
got to be good.
She's got to build real independent confidence. She's got to know what her priorities are. She's got to have a value set to return to. She's got to learn to communicate with the stakeholders in her life in a way that's true and honest and direct before she's in crisis. Okay. Which is one of the, I hate to make generalizations about women, but that's one of the worst things we do is that we wait until we are drowning to say, "I need help." And so then we have this negative connotation with asking for help, right? One of my favorite quotes is, needing help doesn't make you helpless and having a need doesn't make you needy. It's just the human experience. Yeah. And if we would call it out before we're desperate, it would be a positive. It's actually a sign of strength to, okay, don't think I'm a huge nerd. It's a sign of strength to do a SWOT analysis of your own life. Remember that from business school?
Oh, yeah.
A SWOT analysis of your own life and say, this is what I'm going to need. Here are the threats to my opportunities for success. As a working mother, here are the threats. Like May is a threatening month to the working mother.
Okay.
Like, for example,
summer starts.
School's getting out.
Yeah.
And there's a middle of the day singing performance and there's preschool continuation and there's field trips. And you want to do all those things. A lot of
half days.
But it's a toughie when you're working.
Yeah.
And so you have to look at the month of May ahead of time and say, okay, I need to prepare. You know, Monday and Tuesday are normally easier to get in full work days. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is kind of when it starts falling apart when field trips and stuff are. I need to work really hard on Monday and Tuesday so that I can be prepared to go on the field trip on Friday.
I feel like there's this equation that, and you haven't touched on this, but I know that it exists. There is a financial equation in here where when you get to a point, you have to make enough money to make it make sense for you to work, or at least get a nanny, or maybe it's the husband doesn't work. But the financial, do you speak about this at all? What is your thoughts on sort of the reality of the financial situation? Because you get to a certain point, like we make enough money where we can outsource a lot of the home stuff. You know, we have someone come and clean our house, and we have a nanny, but a lot of people can't afford, a lot of working parents can't afford that. So that is a big solution to the problem, is outsourcing a lot of things in the home. What do people do if they can't outsource those things?
I'm really glad you brought that up, because yes, of course, it's easier if you can just hire somebody to do it.
Right.
And there's two things to think about there. Number one, you might be able to hire someone more than you think you could.
Okay.
Like, have you ever calculated your hourly wage as it pertains to what it would cost to hire someone to do the laundry?
Yeah.
Right. Your hourly wage might be higher. Do you know?
Right.
Find out. And if it's not, then the answer is community.
Okay.
Because you're not alone. There are other working moms or parents just like you in your spaces, in the schools, in the church, or in your neighborhood, who are experiencing the same thing. And if you are honest, you ask for help before you need it. And you say, hey, Sarah, say it's my friend named Sarah. What if we just banded together and we alternate school out days? I'll work one, you work one, and we each take half as many vacation days off. I'll watch your kids, you watch my kids. We'll share this load and be the village that human beings are really hardwired to be. Like, the way we are living now is really hard. We are not supposed to live in the isolation that we live in. We're supposed to live in a village orientation. So last summer, when my kids were going to horse camp and 3 other families from across the neighborhood were going to horse camp, we alternated drop off and pickup days, and it made it easier.
Do you feel like you're the one who's always initiating that, though?
Initially, I probably was, but my little core group of friends have kind of created a cult belief system where we support each other.
You sort of sold them on the idea,
I sold
it sounds like. So then what is that community built around? The school?
Yeah.
Okay.
The elementary school, which is a public elementary school where our kids go.
Okay.
So anybody could go there and anybody could be part of this community orientation for resources.
And were your kids already friends, or were you friends with the parents somehow?
It's probably 50-50.
I'm just like unpacking this for
that's
anyone
really
who's listening
a
and
good idea.
thinking about like the actual, like when you break it down into steps, here's the steps to building community that to support. If you don't have the option to financially outsource, a lot of the time sucks. You know what I mean? The laundry, the dishes, the house cleaning, the picking up the kids from the school, the errands, like our nanny. It worked out great. She works in my son's daycare, so she just grabs him at 3:20.
Fantastic.
Gosh. I don't want to take credit, but it was 100% my idea.
So good.
I sold my wife on this, and so she picks my son up, and then she goes and picks my daughters up. Where they usually like park at the house and walk to the school. And then they just play at the playground for a little bit, come home, the neighborhood girls, there's tons of kids in our neighborhood, and they just all end up at our house.
Yep.
And they just play until we get off at 5:00. We kind of show up. Mom appears out of the bedroom at 5:00. Dad shows up at the front door at 5:00. And we say goodbye to the nanny, and we just go into the evening stuff.
Yeah.
So, but a lot of people don't have that option. So if you don't have that option, how do you build that sort of community support system, I guess?
Yeah, I think it's probably, so we ask our children who they play with at school, what are the names of your friends?
Okay.
And then when there is a musical program or something, we make a point to go find those parents.
So, okay. So you're very intentional about building this community.
Absolutely.
Okay. This is what I wanted to get
absolutely.
at. Yeah.
Hey, our son plays with your son.
Yeah.
What's your name? Hey, let's get your phone number. Let's do play dates. Actually, speaking of sharing resources as it pertains to paid resources, last year we did, we're in a comfortable financial situation also, which is a gift. And I do not underestimate that gift. But we hired a nanny to pick our kids were at 2 separate schools.
Okay.
Which is a really challenging thing for families that they experience all the time. Right. Yeah. So we hired someone to pick up and bring home. And that allowed me to have an extra hour and a half of work a day. Right. It's huge.
It's huge.
And we shared that resource with another family.
Okay.
So we paid half and they paid half.
Nice.
Which made it much more financially approachable for both of our families.
She's probably able to get paid a little more because
she got paid a little bit more.
So it's win-win-win for everyone.
Yeah, and everybody
and the kids get to play together.
They get to play together. It was a really fun setup.
See, that's a great, like, really smart solution that I don't think people always think about, but should be shared. You know what I mean?
Well,
inside of a community. What we need is like a community for working moms to share these ideas.
Oh, you need that?
Yeah.
I have created that.
What? Really? Tell me more.
So it's so funny that you bring that up. So, the Self-Made Mom, that was really good. The Self-Made Mom does have an online community where you can join and share these best practices with other mothers.
Where do people find this at?
Go to theselfmademom.com, theselfmademom.com. And there you can learn about how to join the community, which is an app-based subscription. And it's a very nominal subscription fee. And every other week you get a live session with me addressing, the real stuff that we're talking about. Like yesterday, we talked about how to build real confidence as a working mother.
You do it on Mondays usually?
I do it on Mondays, and it's recorded. So if you can't hit it live, you can re-listen to it later. There is an entire, I don't even know how many hours, 100 hours of digital masterclass on there. There are self-making exercises, which are self-discovery opportunities for you as a person to grow. And there are also events that we hold. So we hold boot camps every other month where you come and you learn for a month with other women in community. We do small group coaching. We have a retreat, 2 retreats every year. This year we have one in Aspen in October, where it's 3 days and you come and you listen to awesome speakers and you relax and you get treated like a queen and, all of those things. And then there's individual coaching with myself or one of my self-made mom coaches.
Okay.
But one of the themes of the book, and this is so important as it pertains to the community and resources and being creative about problem solving, is that we have business acumen and we should use it.
What do you mean?
Like, we know how to manage businesses of varying sizes up to huge sizes, right? We know how to manage teams. We know how to identify resources and identify threats. And we're not using that information in our homes, but we should be. Like, why aren't you doing a SWOT analysis in your home?
Yeah.
Why is that such an insane, nerdy idea for someone to bring up, Sure.
Why don't you have a functional calendar, family calendar?
Correct.
Yeah.
Why aren't you sending Outlook invites to your spouse?
We do.
It doesn't sound sexy,
iClouds,
but I bet you'll have more sex if you do it. I'm telling you, that's
schedule
real.
That too, right?
Sometimes. Yes. So that's the thing is, we have all of these deep business skill sets and deep education as to how to manage people or manage things or manage ideas, and we're not using them in our homes. We're kind of walking in the door and forgetting how smart we are.
Is that something that you talk about a lot?
Yes.
Okay.
In the book, the book is composed and laid out in a way that feels like reading, enjoyment, and learning. Okay. You're going to learn something. I'm going to teach her. My dad always says, you got to be careful with Juliet, because if you sit with her for more than 5 minutes, you're going to want to do something. Yeah. She's going to make you want to do something.
You get up and you're going to be taking notes on your phone. You're like, I got to do that. I got to do that.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
And the book is like that.
Cool. Yeah. I like books where I can't read more than 3 or 4 pages at a time, because I have to put it down. It inspires me to digest it, but then also it spurs ideas. You know what I mean? And I'm constantly pulling up my phone and going to the notes app and be like, yeah, I need to do that. I need to do that. Just adding things to my to-do list. I have 2 to-do lists. I have the little tasks that have to get done that day, and then I have big picture to-dos.
Visioning.
Yes.
Sure.
And then I end up adding a bunch of stuff to that when I'm reading to this book. I'm like, oh yeah, I do need to redo that. And so totally.
There'll be a QR code in every chapter of the book where you can scan it and download worksheets and resources and tools.
So it's interactive book.
It is. Get in there and get your tools.
Is the book out?
It's in publishing.
When will it be out?
Well, who knows?
Okay.
It's a long process. No,
well, this takes a few weeks to come out. So maybe
it'll be. I would expect we have a pre-sale link in a few weeks.
Okay, cool. So maybe around the time this episode
I would love that.
Out.
That would be great.
That would be fun. We'll definitely get that.
Yeah, it's a long process. I've been really surprised.
Okay.
Yeah, by that.
About the how long it's taken to publish a book.
Yes.
What's part of it that takes so long?
Well, it took me a really long time to write it because, speaking for a living and writing a book is totally different. It's a 100% different skill set.
How much are you speaking?
Well, I mean, I speak to thousands of women a month. That's what I do for a living.
but are people having you come out and speak at their
certainly.
conferences and stuff
Yes.
like that? Okay.
Yes. Like I was in Orlando.
Speaking
and,
gigs, I guess.
Keynote speaking.
Okay.
Certainly. I do that all the time.
Cool.
I love it.
Nice. So a lot of travel.
Well, so I have made a commitment that I'm only going to do the actual travel type of keynote speaking once a quarter.
Okay.
Because I want to be with my family.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, I want to be with them. And this is not the stage of life where I need to be jetting around on an airplane all the time. And I'm 100% at peace with that.
And Julia, I 100% made the same decision about 2 years ago, a year and a half ago. We had a client that was sending us all over the country, for 5 or 6 days at a time, every 5-6 weeks. I felt like I was missing out on my kid's childhood.
Yeah.
So I made the conscious decision. I was like, well, we won't have this client forever. We need to shift all of our energy and effort to doing more local content and focusing on business. There's plenty of clientele we
live in a huge city
in Denver, in Colorado. I'm even fine with just shooting all over Colorado. I just don't want to get on an airplane unless I need to, or unless I really want to, unless it's somewhere I want to that I want to go.
Yeah.
So I made that conscious effort about 2 years ago, year and a half ago. And just for the same as you, it's like, I just want to, maybe when they get older, when they're in high school, they don't want to hang out with me.
Right.
Then I'll go anywhere a client will pay me to go, and go shoot anything.
Yeah. I mean, I have a 6-year-old and 2 5-year-olds. I probably have 10 or 12 more years of them wanting to be with me.
Yeah.
And that is a finite period of time.
Yep.
I remember 10 years ago, like it was yesterday, I mean, it goes by so fast. So fast. And
you don't think so when you're young. It's like a year feels like an eternity. And then you get here and you're just like a year.
Well, boom,
done.
Yeah. And that has been one of the more wonderful changes that I've been able to adapt as I've become self-made, is the welcoming of those kind of what previously might have felt like restrictions now feel like opportunity.
What do you mean?
Because I'm less emotionally dysregulated, because my cup is full. I feel whole. I feel like I'm taking care of myself. I'm confident. I don't feel like being in service as a mother is the same thing as sacrifice anymore. I have redefined. Totally my mindset has totally changed, and I want to be home, and I want to lean in, and I don't feel slighted or shorted or less as a result, and I don't feel resentful. I used to feel very resentful because I just wasn't getting what I needed. And mostly from myself. Right. Really. It had nothing to do with my husband, had nothing to do with my friends. It had everything to do with self-infliction. Yeah. And that's really, the Self-Made Mom is about the redefinition of service away from obligatory sacrifice and into voluntary service as a methodology around how much you love your people, but also how much you love yourself.
Yeah.
It's remembering you are a member of the family you serve.
Yeah, I follow a psychologist, and he says, treat yourself as if you were someone tasked with taking care of. Like if you were going to take care of someone who was sick, or you're like, a sick parent or a sick friend, and you had to take care of them, like treat yourself the same way. Yeah, just treat yourself how you would treat someone else.
Don't always have to be last. Yeah. No one wrote that down in stone.
Right.
Maybe a little while ago it was like that, but it's not anymore. It doesn't have to be that way. We can choose a different road.
I don't think that was ever a healthy way.
Oh, no, it was never healthy.
Right.
But it was, historically, it was there.
It was there, but it was never healthy.
It doesn't have to be. You can put yourself in just as important of a spot in your family as anyone else.
Yeah.
And they are not going to get less. They're probably going to get more.
How do you strike that balance of like putting your needs first, or at least making room for your needs, but not being like selfish and greedy?
Well, so imagine if you woke up every morning thinking, what does my family need today? Which is what you do.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. Every mother on the planet is walking around saying, okay, it's 8 a.m. and what do my children need today? What does my spouse need today? What if you then also said, and what do I need today?
Yeah.
That's not going to make anybody else's needs not get met. This is not an exchange. It's not, well, I'm going to do what I need and the kids are going to have to suffer. Absolutely not. You can teach your children and you can teach your spouse that providing time for mom to get her needs met is just as accommodatable, is just as important. And it's just a relearning about the household function. Like, why does mom's plate always get made last?
Yeah.
Why are mama's workouts always deprioritized to the point of not even happening? Yeah. That's really silly. It's communicate with your spouse. Hey, I feel mentally cluttered. I need to do a workout. I'm going to do it from this time to this time. How does that work with you?
And don't feel guilt about doing
Absolutely not.
Free yourself from that guilt.
You would never feel guilty about feeding your children a healthy breakfast. Why would you feel guilty about feeding yourself a healthy breakfast?
Yeah.
Taking 5 minutes to make some spinach eggs, like,
Yeah.
But we do until we stop, until we say that's enough. I'm done
until
living
you break,
this. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Until you
break.
Yeah. And
then it's too late.
Tell stories in the book. There's many stories about how I broke, or my husband and I broke together, and how we had to rebuild as a result. And that rebuilding came with knowledge in the best way.
Yeah.
It was a good
painful,
thing.
but good process, right?
You know what? I'm not afraid of pain, and self-made women are not either.
Yeah.
You welcome pain, just as important as joy in your life. It's learning and growing.
Yeah.
And you bring it into your domain, learn from it.
Rise from the
on.
ashes.
Yeah, to phoenixes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Well, tell me, working moms out there who
Yeah.
see this, might hear this, where should they start with you? Where should they start if they're interested in what you offer, what you're doing? Where's the best place for them to go? And what are the steps they should get involved? Should they show up at a conference? Should they pre-order your book? Should they go to the website?
Best case scenario. So in the immediate now, go to theselfmademom.com or follow us on Facebook or on Instagram. Of course, we have those social accounts, same handles, The Self-Made Mom. And then when the pre-sale link comes out, please buy the book. There's so much in the book about how other women are living, which is an important part of this experience, is to understand that you're not alone.
Okay.
It's real life stories.
You'll see yourself in some of those stories. Right?
Yes. And you'll say, okay, it's not just me. And here's how they overcame it. And here's how I can overcome it too. And then in the future, prioritize yourself enough to join a boot camp, come to a retreat, participate in small group coaching, join the community. There are varying levels of investment, and some of them are very small. And from a financial standpoint, we're talking about $30 a month. We're talking about something that's 2 coffees at Starbucks.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, maybe 3 coffees at Starbucks. I don't buy coffees from Starbucks, but 3 coffees at Starbucks, where then you can get what you need to live the life you deserve to live. You don't need to decide that you get less for the rest of your life. That's just not truth.
I think that's a good place to end it.
Okay.
Thank you, Julia.
You're welcome. You're welcome.